So let me start today with this. Have you ever heard the saying, be careful who you hitch your wagon to? I know I've heard it many times from many different people, both professionally and privately. Right? Don't surround yourself with bad people. You'll get in trouble too. I hear it all the time. Be careful who you select to be in your inner circle. Be careful who you choose to support and who you don't choose to support. Admittedly, I made a mistake. When I made my Tony La Russa video, coming in support of him, I didn't know, nor did anyone know, that Tony was arrested back in February for a second DUI. That's a mistake that I made, and I'll own up to it. This is not capitulating to Sox Twitter or capitulating to the White Sox fan base. This is the truth. DUI, drunk driving, that's not okay. And although Tony La Russa, I will contend, is a great baseball mind, his off-the-field issues need to be resolved. We need to hear from him. We need to hear from the White Sox. We need to understand why they chose to hire him despite knowing about this arrest. We need to understand and know the facts, and right now there aren't many out there. This news just broke the other day. It's very fresh, very new, and everyone's commenting on it, besides people officially with the White Sox at the moment. I said a couple of days ago, and I'll stand by this comment, Tony La Russa is a great baseball mind. There's no question. No one can argue with 3 World Series championships. No one can argue with the 3rd most wins ever in baseball history as a manager. Those numbers are great, and no one even comes close to those numbers today. No one in the game right now. He is, without question, the most accomplished manager who's currently employed. I think we can all agree on that. Even though he won back in the 80s, 90s, 2000s, they still count as real wins. Don't take anything away from him for doing something in different decades, in eras that we're not privy to. I know the game was different back then. I know it's different now. But the numbers still matter. They still count. We can't sit here and say these accomplishments were back in the 80s, they're in the 90s, they don't matter. They do. There's a reason why he's in the Hall of Fame. There's a reason why we have the Hall of Fame. We have the Hall of Fame to honor people who were the best of their era. Tony La Russa, as a manager, was one of the best of his era. No question. He is a great baseball mind. The problem is, he can't keep his act together off the field. And that's an issue. That's a serious problem. This is a White Sox team that's gone through painstaking efforts to rebuild. It's taken them years. You could argue it's taken them since 2008 to get to this point right now. And it would be a shame to have that all go down the drain because of a manager who can't control himself off the field. Not even the players, the manager. That is an issue. It's not something that should be celebrated whatsoever. I'll celebrate Tony La Russa's baseball milestones. I will not celebrate his conduct off the field. A friend texted me about this, of course, when they saw my video, then saw what happened with La Russa. And I would compare him to Curt Schilling. Curt Schilling, great baseball player. Probably going to be a Hall of Famer here. Not so much of a good guy off the field. Really not a good guy off the field. But he is a great baseball pitcher. He is one of the greatest of all time. 3,000 plus strikeouts, 200 wins. World Series MVP, 2001. Great pitcher. Not so great guy off the field. Tony La Russa, great manager. One of the best of all time. Not such a good guy off the field. So the question is then, how much will that off-the-field issue affect him in games? Assuming he's still employed. Now, from a baseball analytical standpoint, when we're just talking straight-up baseball, it should have no effect. Tony La Russa still is a great baseball mind. Yes, he has issues off the field, but it shouldn't affect the way he manages the team. The issue is going to be this. How will the players respond? No one liked him from the beginning. Fans didn't, players didn't. We did a video on it. No one liked the idea of having to tweak their style even a little bit just to hear what La Russa has to say. Everyone immediately wrote him off. All the players were being defensive. No, I don't want to change anything. And that's how it worked. That's how it was, knowing who Tony La Russa was. Now you throw this DUI into the mix. How is any player going to give him respect? If they didn't do it before, knowing he's an old school manager, why would they do it now? Knowing about this DUI, knowing about his past issues off the field. That's the key. That's the issue. That's the problem with him still being the manager. There's no doubt in my mind that if this didn't happen, he would lead the White Sox to big success. But with this in the mix, how is it possible for any of these guys to respond and listen to what he has to say? It's not. It's impossible. It won't happen. These guys were already skeptical going into it. And now this is added to the mix. Not good. According to the arrest report, which makes it even worse, La Russa tried to get out of the DUI by insinuating that he's a Hall of Fame manager. He said, quote, to the officer, "Do you see my ring?" The officer asked La Russa what he was talking about. La Russa stated, "I'm a Hall of Famer baseball person." La Russa stated, "I'm legit. I'm a Hall of Famer, brother. You're trying to embarrass me." The officer said that he was not trying to embarrass him, and he would treat La Russa with the utmost respect. Not a good look. Not a good look. And I know you want to play the big league card. Everyone does it. When celebrities get arrested, of course they're going to say, "Hey, this is who I am. Can I get off?" But the fact that the White Sox knew about this and knew about these details, that's a problem. That's not good. That's not the way you should be conducting business. To everyone's credit in that organization, they did a fantastic job with this rebuild. Unbelievable job. I give them an A+, without a doubt. They had to claw and work their way up from nothing to get to this point. Years and years of waiting and drafting, and some guys not working, other guys taking long to bloom. And finally, they've gotten to this point where they're a legit contender now. And then this happens. And then apparently they knew about this when they hired him. I just don't understand. Why get in your own way? You've done such a great job at building up this team. Why throw it all away? What was the reaction you expected when this story came out? This has happened before to many different people in many different sports. The reaction is never really positive. Very rarely is it even neutral. The only one I could think of off the top of my head is the Antonio Brown comeback with Tampa Bay. No one's really said anything, even though there's an open case about rape against him. For the most part, people are happy to see him there because of the talent and the skill that he brings to the table. I haven't heard many people say, "This is horrible, this is disgusting, what are you doing?" People have let him come back because he has skills. He does bring something to the table. And until that off-the-field issue gets resolved or until he's formally charged, he could still play. So no one's saying anything. No one's questioning it. No one's complaining about it. That's the only recent time in which someone has an issue like that, and no one said much. Every other time something like this has come out about a famous athlete, there's always backlash. There's always an issue. No one's going to support something like this. So my question is, what did you expect to the White Sox when this came out? Did you think people would just sweep it under the rug? Did you think people wouldn't care? You saw the reaction that you got when the hiring was made. That's without knowing about the DUI. What did you think was going to happen when all of a sudden in February, La Russa had another DUI? And then you pick him to manage your team full of young guys who are looking for a leader. Look, if I had to choose today, I would have kept Rick Renteria 100%, knowing what I know now. See, before it was somewhat justifiable. You could have said, and I did, La Russa has more credentials. Maybe he could connect with this team. Maybe they could win lots of games. But we do know one thing about Rick Renteria. Like him or not, criticize his moves or not, he wouldn't do something like this. He has integrity. He has class for the game. He respects it. And he respects his team, his players, and his organization. He would never put the White Sox into a bind like this. He would never do something to compromise the franchise in any way possible. He's a company man. He's working to help the team, working to help the greater good, one team. This action by La Russa doesn't help anybody, not even himself. It only strengthens the criticism surrounding the move and puts the White Sox in a very negative light. Probably the most negative light I can remember to date. I know I'm only 20, but still, I never remember the team enraptured in so much controversy like they are right now. I'm trying to think. The worst thing the White Sox have done in my 20 years is maybe keeping Robin Ventura longer than he should have been there. That's the one thing I could think of in which there was such a public discourse towards the White Sox where people were going after him. That was it. They won the World Series, made the playoffs 2008. There's nothing really there. This is the most controversial thing that has come to this franchise in the past 20 years. And when you're comparing it to the other thing, which is just a managerial problem, an X's and O's baseball problem, that's not good. So I admit I was wrong. Had I known about the information I know now, I would have never made that video. I would have never come out and supported La Russa knowing these issues off the field. I will contend to this day that he's a great baseball man. He knows the game. He has credentials, accomplishments that very few people can even match or think about. But this won't resonate with the roster the Sox have right now, and that's a fact. There was already so much animosity towards the hiring. How will this make things any better? How will these young guys who actually have clean records listen to a 77-year-old who's been caught drunk driving twice? And that's all we know about. Who knows if there are more times in which he's gotten in trouble? This is not a good look. Remember, we open this show by saying, be careful who you hitch your wagon to. Had I known, I would have never hitched my wagon to Tony La Russa. I would have never said he's a great manager. he's a good choice for this team. Now, do I think he's going to stay? Yes, of course he is. Look at around sports. Look at how many people have been a part of controversies, have been a part of crimes, and have stayed within the game. Antonio Brown just got a job. There's a rape charge against him. Michael Vick made a comeback after dogfighting. Even though these things are not great, if you have the skill, you're going to stay in the game. That's how it works. All of these teams are in the business of winning and profits. That's what it's all about. So if Jerry Reinsdorf fully believes that Tony La Russa is going to win the White Sox many games, lead them to a World Series, make him money, I'm sorry, he's not going anywhere. But I will say this, it's going to be very, very hard for La Russa to connect with his players. As if it already wasn't hard, it's going to be even worse. I don't know how these guys will respect somebody with that record. They already look at him as a dinosaur. That's true. Everybody does. That's an unfair comparison. I didn't like it, but that's the truth. Now you add in 2 DUIs. What are people supposed to think? It does change my opinion. Without the DUI, I thought it could have worked. I really thought it could have worked. It would have been a nice mix of young and old. La Russa knows the game. He is a Hall of Fame manager. I think the Sox would have won a lot of games with him at the helm. Now the question is, will he stay? And if he does, will his players listen to him? I think he stays, for sure. But I don't think people will listen. I don't think his message will resonate. And that won't lead to many wins for the White Sox. And that's a shame, considering how much time, how much effort, and how many years the Sox put in to rebuilding this team. From Robin Ventura till today, the Sox have been working and working and working to rebuild this roster and make them a World Series contender. They've finally done it. And then they hire a manager who had a secret DUI we didn't even know about. This is self-sabotage. There's still an opportunity to make this right. That's the good thing. There's still a chance for the White Sox to come out and make a statement, Tony La Russa to apologize, the Sox firing La Russa altogether. Will they do any of that, though? Will any of that happen? My money's on La Russa staying. But that will, inevitably, create a big rift between his players and himself. And my guess is that won't lead to a lot of wins. It will lead to misery, and it will lead to a wasted rebuild for the White Sox. More to come here on Sports Talk Chicago. My interview with Cole Wright comes up next, so stay tuned. Hey, how would you like to make some money this weekend? What if I told you that I could offer you $250 free to bet on any game you want? Bears coming up, college football coming up. Here's what you have to do. Go to sportstalkchicago.com/cash, sportstalkchicago.com/cash. Illinois residents only. You must be 21 plus. You could get $250 free to bet on any game you want. Bears Vikings Monday night. College football this weekend. It's that simple. All you have to do is go to sportstalkchicago.com/cash, sportstalkchicago.com/cash. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.